Important to make positive calls home because as assistant principal, sometimes my calls home are not about positive behaviors, and I really want phone calls that come from school to not only be about a sick child in the clinic or about a behavior problem, but to also be about the good things happening across campus. So last January we implemented a make the call home card, and so the goal was teachers would get 5 cards, and their task was to identify a student who went above and beyond to something, fill the card out, send it up to the office, and we would call home to celebrate the good. Now, the funny part was we only had red cards stuck in the closet when I went to make copies, so I copied them on red, not ever realizing that red could have like a negative connotation. So we would call home and be like, hey, got great news, they got a red card, and there'd be like a pause from the parents, and then I had to say, oh no, the red card is a card that we use when we want to recognize a student for doing something great. And it is so powerful to hear the shift in the parent's tone when you say, oh, this is Miss Asher from Caldwell. And like, oh, I'm like, I'm calling to share some really great news. She's like, oh, really? And it is probably one of my most rewarding parts of the day because the kids get excited to talk to their moms and dads. They giggle, they jump up and down, they get bashful. They're like, yes, I love you. Okay, I'll see you later. But it has just set a tone of focusing on the positive. Because when I focus on the positive, it starts shifting the behaviors, but it also tones out some of that negative. And getting a red card is a really powerful thing for the kids, and the kids keep track. And what I didn't know was red cards were going on the refrigerator, red cards were going on parents' Facebook pages, red cards were being shared with grandmas and grandpas, and it really became a badge of honor for the child when they got the red card. One sweet girl told me that I called her mom and we went through, that I'm calling you to let you know the great news, but she had put us on speakerphone so everyone in the office could hear the great news about her daughter. And when your child comes back and they tells you that part of the story, you realize it was far more powerful, that 2-minute phone call, than I ever realized. And there was another sweet girl, we called her dad and we were letting him know the great news, and I passed the phone off to her and she started getting emotional, and I said, oh my gosh, what's wrong? She's like, he's crying. I said, your dad's crying? And she said, yes, he's crying on the phone. He's so proud of me that he's crying. And I just, to not reduce a grown man to tears, but that simple phone call about his daughter, who's a great kid, beautiful child, works hard every day, had that powerful of effect on him that we realized that those positive phone calls home were changing our kids and changing our parents, but also promoting our school story, because now it becomes a school that calls for good. And we're not always calling for sick or for bad. And it was fun last year because we started in January and we went through the last day of school. We made over 500 calls. So I'm excited as this year goes on because our goal is 1,000 calls this year. So not a lot of calling to do, but it's exciting because it's a joyful spot in the day for the kids and for us.